So the United States has just announced that talks will begin on resolving the Ukraine-Russia war, really a proxy war, as early as this coming week in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. On the U.S. side will be National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Steve Witkoff. I don't know what role, if any, Keith Kellogg is going to be playing in this. And I'm glad they're happening in Saudi Arabia, because one of the benefits of meeting there may be that it is made very clear that the Palestinians are not going anywhere. You cannot expel them from Gaza and the West Bank, and there is no nation in the region that is willing to absorb them. So you better come up with a plan like Lyndon LaRouche's Oasis plan. But what I wanted to just tell you today is that the LaRouche organization is going to be producing shortly a series of videos on projects that are urgently needed for an economic recovery in the United States. I found from my symposium of Friday with Rich Freeman, talking about BlackRock, but also touching on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, that there's a great deal of confusion on what constitutes wealth, what constitutes economy, and why you need a national currency which is under the control of your government. Now, admittedly, we've had some really rotten governments, of which the Biden administration may have been the worst. So it's understandable to me that people want to get rid of the Federal Reserve and don't want to replace it with a national bank. But I will tell you, there are some things that private individuals simply are not going to do. One is to issue credit to build a national rail grid. Please travel the world. Even in Turkey, the subway systems, the rail systems are far more advanced than they are in the United States. And I think building 43,000 miles of modern high-speed rail would work wonders in unifying our nation and also giving young people a mission for productive employment. We need energy. We're going to have blackouts everywhere. We've been idiotically shutting down nuclear power plants, especially in my home state of New York. We probably need 150 to 200 new nuclear power plants. How do you finance this? The government can issue credit to do this, not by increasing taxes. It's a kind of a debt. It's what Lyndon LaRouche called a capital budget. That is your day-to-day expenses, operating expenses, income in, income out. That you want to be balanced. But to do things, that is, you don't want to be spending a lot more than you're bringing in. But if you're going to do something that's going to dramatically improve the productivity of your workforce, you can think of the end result as the collateral for the quote unquote loan or credit. So building a national high-speed rail corridor would create millions of jobs. It would improve people's ability to get to work, to ship goods. The city of Syracuse, New York, when the Erie Canal was built, increased 40-fold in population, because that's what commerce does. So I'm not talking about a shell game where you're using different kinds of currencies to move your money around like a gambling casino. That doesn't create wealth. We're talking about increasing man's power over nature, to transform the physical standard of living, to make it possible for more people to live on this planet, and specifically to live in the United States with a longer life expectancy, lower infant mortality, better educated. Isn't that what we used to consider the American dream? That there was the relationship between your willingness to work hard, to put everything into it, and your ability to live a prosperous life. That's what we have to return to. And I think we can do it now under this administration. I don't think that President Trump is opposed to this kind of thing. I just think that some of the Economic advisors around him don't have a full understanding of the principles of physical economy as Lyndon LaRouche did.